Hi, I'm Sally. This is a review of my Therm-a-Rest Parsec sleeping bag. So this is the -6 degrees Celsius or 20 degrees Fahrenheit version. So this is for warmer weather. It's a 3-season sleeping bag. They do make a 4-season version. So this is from the previous generation. They've just started making a new version in blue, but it looks to be quite similar. It's a little bit warmer. This is 800 power down. And the new one is 900 power down, and the baffles are a little bit different, but I think the rest of it is the same. I've owned this for 4 or 5 years, so I'll just tell you what I think of it. So I have camped in regular sort of summer temperatures in this, and it's fine. If anything, it's on the warmer side. But I've also camped quite a bit in colder climates, going down to near 0 degrees, so near freezing at night, and I find that even with an 800 power down jacket on with a mid layer and a base layer, I'm still sometimes quite cold in this. So if you're planning on going out in wintry temperatures or even close to 0, then I would probably go with the one that's meant for 4-season temperatures. I believe it's -18 rating if you run a little bit cold like me. But if you run hot, this might be enough for you. The closest competitor at the time was a Mountain Hardwear sleeping bag that was comparable in terms of weight and warmth, but it did not have hydrophobic down. And this does have hydrophobic down, which I think is really important because even when you try really hard, sometimes your sleeping bag gets a little bit wet, especially on the foot. If it's touching the end of the tent occasionally, there's a real risk that it gets wet. You do not want the down getting all saturated. Especially if you're camping several days in a row. I've done a couple of 2-week trips in this, and every night the foot would get a little bit wet. And I just think by the end of the trip, I would have been carrying around a pretty sodden sleeping bag if it wasn't hydrophobic down. Another reason I chose this sleeping bag is because it has a fairly wide width, especially across the hips and the knees, and it's just wide enough that I'm actually able to sleep with one of my knees splayed out like this, which I really like. I'm about 5'7", so I'm able to just barely do that. If you're taller than me, it probably won't work, but just compared to some of the other ultralight sleeping bags out there, this one is quite a bit roomier. It's got a really nice zipper. Sometimes I get it caught in the fabric, but it is never torn. It has really nice extra baffles that go right around your face to prevent any drafts when you have the hood up and tightened around your face. It does have this small pocket near the top for your cell phone or anything else that you might want to keep warm at night. I don't usually use it because I'm worried that I'll roll over onto my side and then squash whatever is in here, but it's a pretty smart feature. It comes with these straps so that you can sort of strap the sleeping bag to your sleeping mat to keep from sliding off. I've never used them. I've never found a reason to use them. So it comes with a stuff sack, and this is how it looks once it's in there. You could probably get this even smaller if you really wanted to. Very small. I'm going to put my old sleeping bag, a Mountain Equipment Co-op Aquilina -7, into a stuff sack so you can get a comparison. So this is my older sleeping bag, which is quite similar, but lower end, and it is half down and half synthetic fill. This is the Parsec, and as you can see, it's just a lot smaller. It is rated for 1 degree warmer temperatures, but still, it's just so much smaller. So if you're doing a bike trip and you have limited cargo space, if you're doing a longer backpacking trip where you need to carry a lot of food, so space is going to be more of the essence, then getting a sleeping bag that packs down smaller is really going to make your trip a lot easier. There'll be less faffing around trying to cram things in your bag. And this one is also lighter. So I think if you're doing mostly car camping and maybe a few weekend trips where you do not need to carry that much food with you, then a more sort of mid-range sleeping bag like this is just fine, and this is what I used for years. But if you're doing longer trips or you're doing bike packing and you want to really keep your gear down to a minimum, then a higher end sleeping bag like the Parsec is really a big advantage. It just frees up so much space in my backpack for food and for other gear, and it makes packing a lot easier because I don't have to be cramming everything into my bag like I used to. this was really a worthwhile buy. If I'd known that I was going to be doing as much cold weather camping as I have been, I would have actually got the 4-season version of this. But this one is more versatile, so it's nice I can use this in warmer temperatures as well. So that's my 2 cents. Hope that was helpful. I will see you out there.